Everyone loves the run and gun over-the-top action in Contra, but what if you need your Contra fix on the go? Not to fear, we got you covered. On today's show, we're going to cover the top 5 Contra Handheld games. Keep in mind we aren't including these mobile phone games. There's just too many, and let's be frank, they probably wouldn't make a top 5 list anyway. Number 5. For the 5th entry, we're going all the way back to 1989, to the first official Contra Handheld, technically just called C, as the word Contra isn't actually written anywhere on this. So C is an LCD handheld requiring 2 AA batteries to play. You guys may remember these style handhelds from back in the day. Just some lights blinking on and off, making the effect of movement. Well, Konami released a bunch of these back in the late 80s and early 90s, and Contra was certainly one of them. There's a D-pad here on the left, allowing you to move your character left and right, and a button on the right here to fire your weapon. The gameplay is limited, of course, it's just a single screen. The objective here, as in most of these type of games, is just trying to achieve a high score. This is actually rather difficult though. Am I dead already? Yeah, I'm dead. Number 4. Contra 3D Alien Wars on Super Nintendo is a highly rated and liked video game amongst retro gamers. With its action-packed levels and huge boss fights, it was one of the best games on the system. So, 2 years later in 1994, they ported the game to the original Game Boy. This time simply titled Contra the Alien Wars. This port was done by a company called Factor 5. It was also released in Japan as Contra Spirits and in Europe as Pro Protector 2. The game lacks a lot of features found in the Super Nintendo version of Contra 3, such as the ability to hold 2 weapons and switch between them, and there's also a few missing bosses and levels. For starters, there's only 5 levels rather than 6. Both the overhead levels are kept in here, and work okay for being on a Game Boy. As you might have guessed, the missing level is Stage 4 from the Super Nintendo. This is the one with the older motorcycles and crazy parts hanging on missiles and just stuff going on everywhere. I'm assuming the Game Boy could not handle this level. The graphics could be a little bit better, honestly, but we have to give credit to Factor 5 for attempting to bring a masterpiece like Contra 3D Alien Wars from Super Nintendo and putting it back onto a little Game Boy screen. Number 3. So quite some time after the Super Nintendo Contra 3 was released in 92, and the Game Boy port released in 94, Konami decided to try and port this Contra 3 again in 2002. This time the port was to the Game Boy Advance and was titled Contra the Alien Wars EX, and also Contra Hard Spirits in Japan. This port is much better than the original Game Boy port in my opinion, hence why it's higher on this list. It's much more polished and of course has better graphics being on the Game Boy Advance. There are all 6 levels this time in the game rather than 5, but there's a twist here. The 2 overhead levels are completely changed. Well, by changed I should say removed, and added in their place are 2 new side-scrolling levels. There are no overhead levels in this game. The 2, quote, new levels are actually 2 levels taken straight out of Contra Hardcore from Sega Genesis. Starting with level 2, which was the overhead stage in Contra 3 on Super Nintendo, this time it's the exact train level taken straight from Contra Hardcore. It's done well and plays great, including the stage boss again, is a blue robot. Gotta love this guy. Level 4 is kept this time as it was omitted from the last port, probably for graphical reasons or some other technical limitations, but it sure as heck looks good in this version. Level 5 would have been the second overhead stage in Contra 3, and is once again removed and replaced with a level from Contra Hardcore. This was the final level of the game, and one of the paths you could choose in Contra Hardcore. Both the mini-bosses and stage boss in all 3 forms are here once again. In all, this is a great port of Contra 3, and we recommend it to anybody who hasn't tried it yet. Number 2. Coming at number 2 spot on our list is Operation C for the original Game Boy. This is known as the first portable Contra game, but as we know now, technically the Contra LCD game was first. Nonetheless, Operation C was released in 1991 by Konami and is an excellent game for the Game Boy. You may notice the company Ultra listed in the game, but that was a subsidiary company of Konami and was created just to bypass the limit Nintendo put on games per year that publishers were allowed to make. This game, unlike the previous 2 on this list, is not a port of any kind. This is an original game and was the 3rd Contra installment released, right before Contra 3 in 1992. This game includes a total of 5 stages. Level 1, 3, and 5 are traditional side-scrolling levels, and level 2 and 4 are the overhead areas similar to the ones seen on Super C for Nintendo. While most of the music is rearranged tunes from Contra and Super C, there are some number of new tracks here, made specifically for this game. As mentioned in a previous video, this is the first game to feature a homing weapon and also upgraded weapons. That's right, if you pick up an S power-up, it shoots out a stream of 3. But if you manage to get another S power-up on top of that, it will now shoot out in all 5 direction stream rather than 3. This feature of upgrading your weapons was implemented later in a number of future releases. The controls feel responsive and the graphics are great for the time on the original Game Boy. I feel these graphics are even better than Factor 5 port of Contra 3, which came out 3 years later. The graphics are sharp with good contrast and the music also sounds great too. Check this one out. Number 1. In 2007, for the 20th year anniversary, Konami released the amazing Contra 4 on Nintendo DS, known as Contra Dual Spirits in Japan. As number 4 suggests in the title, this is a continuation from the original Contra series, Contra, Super C, and Contra 3 The Alien Wars. This is the first original handheld game made since 1991's Operation C. This time, the game was developed by Way Forward Technologies and was the first Contra title they ever worked on, and I'd say they managed to do a good job at it. The gameplay is similar to the early 2D Contras, with the majority of the game just being side-scrolling and action and platforming. There are 2 levels though, which play like a pseudo 3D level from the original Contra game. Those are pretty interesting. The set pieces in this game are huge, featuring tons of new levels and bosses, as well as some reimagining of older bosses, such as the tower boss here in level 1 becoming a double tower once his bottom is destroyed. The jet ski level here on the water is one of my favorite levels and it's done very well. The water line splits the top and bottom screen seamlessly and it's just a fun level to play. The boss here looks badass as well. Another new and fun boss is the one in level 7. You start off on his back, you have to shoot out all these pods as dead bodies fall out, and then manage to steal a motorcycle and drive up and shoot the boss in his face. Just another imaginative and creative boss found within this game. One of the biggest new additions to gameplay is the Grapple Hook mechanic, which allows you to pull yourself up to an area with ease. The dual screens are used in conjunction with each other to act as one larger screen rather than playing on 2 separate screens like a lot of DS games do. The standard game is played in arcade mode, where you progress through 9 levels fighting new bosses and seeing new levels. If you want some more additional fun and challenge, there's a challenge mode which you play through the 40 challenges, unlocking various new playable characters and other bonus material. Each of the 40 challenges has its own restrictions on how you're supposed to beat the level, such as beating a level without killing anyone, beating a boss without getting hit, or beating a level with some weird prototype weapon. With all the old school Contra feel, great boss battles, and fun level design, Contra 4 for the DS takes our spot as the best portable Contra game. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you want to see the full video review of any of these games, click up here to the top right to watch our Contra playlist. If you want to see the video about the game in number 1 spot, click down here to the bottom right. Thanks for watching and have a great day.